Hey everybody, welcome to Book Study. We're so excited to hit chapter 5 in Developing the Leader Within You 2.0 by John Maxwell, our favorite author, or at least mine. Okay, so I'm going to start out. We have tons of questions for you guys today. So we want you to really get your mind rolling on what problems you have in your business or have had in your business that you have fixed or working on fixing, working on solving, or who you've noticed is working on solving and is good at it. So I want you to have that like in your mind as we're asking questions, but we want a lot of interaction from you guys because we know that you all have problems you're trying to fix and working on and you have fixed. So we know you're going to have things to bring up. So we're excited to hear what you have solved so far because everyone here is working on their leadership. That's why we are here. Um, I wanted to start out by saying, and Brittany shared this with me today too, and it was spot on, is that we both think that this is like the number one thing. This is the number one thing that sets people apart from trying to be a leader to someone who's actually leading their team, who is actually solving problems for their team, building trust with their team, also being known as a team who doesn't get stuck because they have a mindset, and it all begins with mindset, right? They have a mindset of that this is fixable, this is doable. How can we make this work? Instead of this sucks, this doesn't work, no, we can't do this. Like that is, I've seen leaders like that and their whole team disappears and then they end up blaming their team or blaming some other circumstances why it didn't work. So that's not us. That's not what we're going to be doing.
Products or blaming something.
Yeah, blaming something. Yeah. So most people try to avoid problems. Great leaders anticipate, analyze, and grow through them. So I'm curious if anyone has ever like anticipated a problem. Like, does that mean we're hoping it's going to happen? Or does it mean that we know and expect there to be problems? Like, it's not a big deal. We know it's going to happen. And we're like, and when one pops up, we're not like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to reply because that I don't even know what to do. But you were ready. You knew that it could pop up. They're like at this kind of rank that those kind of things usually come up. So you're anticipating it, you're noticing it, and it doesn't scare you. It's part of the thing. It's part of the whole leadership thing. Does that feel like, I'm just curious how people are feeling. You can put it in the chat. How does that make you feel? Can you
I
do
feel like
it?
I think Miranda should speak up on this. I actually messaged Miranda Merchant earlier whenever I was reading this because this is one thing I notice about her. Is that she is a problem solver, and when I told her that, she was like, "Oh yeah, problems. I just expect them. They don't scare me because I expect them." So I don't know if she anticipates them, but she just expects that problems are part of life. That was what she said, and she's an emerald, so that's not surprising.
I was typing that when you called me out. But yeah, I think I don't know if it came from so my husband worked in the oil field forever. His schedule was constantly changing. I have three little kids, so things are always coming up with them. Um, I just learned that like problems are expected and I can either let them like completely derail me and like ruin my day, or I can just expect them to happen and like figure out how to solve them. So yeah, I don't get too worked up over a problem.
Literally solves problems with a smile. That's what Miranda does with a smile. It's impressive.
I feel that way in like parenting and other areas of my life too, where I'm like, okay, I don't like this problem. It's like my favorite thing. But when I figure this out, I'll be able to share it with someone else, and that will be so much better for them. And I can share it with my kids. And it almost is like an exciting feeling, like I've accomplished a thing. It can almost be like the same as accomplishing a rank. Like your next, like there's this many problems to your next rank. And if you figure them out as you get to your next rank. And so I enjoy it too. I don't love when it's happening, but I'm glad I know I can figure it out, right?
Hmm.
Um, do we want to go, Brittany, do we want to ask one of your questions? I feel like yours were like more at the beginning of the chapter, but I can just dig into mine too.
I mean, it's fine if we bounce around too. So
Okay, yeah,
bounce
there's so many good questions we could
Okay.
ask. There's so many good ones.
Do you want me to start or are you going first?
Okay, I can start. My first one was, let me grab it. All right, so we're gonna be thinking about examples. Okay, surface level issues or root issues. Can you think of a time where you thought something was the problem, but as you were trying to figure out the problem, you realized that's not even the problem? That was not the problem. That was literally just the tip of the iceberg kind of thing. And then you were able to identify that you had to dig deeper and you had to ask more and better questions to get to actually the root of the problem. And when you figured that one out, then the other ones weren't really a problem anymore. Does anyone have an example of that? And have you felt that or experienced that? Unmute and share away. We would love to hear.
Okay, I'm gonna give a broad example. Hello, ladies.
Hey.
So when I was in the first couple years of my business, and as my business goals got bigger and my business got bigger, and I had toddlers and babies and all the things, there were so many like chaotic days. And I remember thinking, like, okay, maybe my business is the problem. Like maybe if I didn't have this going on, then I wouldn't have chaos, then I would be all organized and structured and that kind of thing. And I had to realize that that was not the issue at all, because anything could trigger that, right? That it was that I needed to learn how to expand my capacity and become organized and learn how to be a manager of my time. Whereas my life prior to that, I didn't need that, because there wasn't anything growing. So it really caused me to like look at everything surrounding it instead of just blaming one thing.
That's a good one.
I have an example. When in the beginning of my business, I would get customers pretty easily, but I had a really hard time keeping customers. And I blamed the products. I thought the products were the problem, but what I realized was that it was my belief in the products that was the problem. Like I didn't have enough knowledge to know how to support somebody through detox or help them get the results they were wanting, especially if it was like weight loss or something. And so I had to build my knowledge in the products, understand how the products work and what realistic expectations were. And once I believed in the products, then I was able to then keep my customers.
Oh, that's good. Don't they always, usually lead back to us anyway, all the issues? Or the person we're trying to help who's trying to blame something else leads
Yeah,
back
I
to
was
us.
just I was about to say that. I find this in my team a lot. It's like way easier to spot it than it is to like admit you have it, right? But like when I'm working with my team and somebody's saying, nobody wants to work the business. They think the problem is that nobody wants to do network marketing, which is actually false, because as you can see, the 64 people on this call very much do like want to do network marketing, right? Plus so many other thousands of us in Plexus and other companies. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is the person doesn't believe that people will want to do network marketing. And so
Yeah.
therefore they don't share about the business opportunity, or they don't follow up about the business opportunity. So the problem's not network marketing. The problem is the person's belief.
And one that I find often is the same problem. They can't find people. And then you dig deeper and it's like they don't dare themselves to talk to them because they feel inferior, they're comparing. And so that leads to figuring out that they don't have confidence in themselves. Then it leads to what is your identity that you're actually thinking about yourself when you're talking to people. Suddenly they become confident when they recognize, which takes a lot of mindset work and a lot of like renewing of the mind to get that confidence piece. Because if you're believing something about yourself that is a lie and you decide not to anymore, Then the original problem of can't talk to anybody because nobody wants to talk to me suddenly is gone because they're finding friends left and right because they're enjoying talking to people and they're not judging themselves and judging other people and like, yeah,
That's so good.
love watching those breakthroughs.
Mhm.
I also think that there's a direct correlation between someone's confidence and someone's willingness and even attitude about problems. So I
Mm.
think when we were talking a minute ago about anticipating problems, it's kind of to me like, of course, there will be problems. Like I'm in motion. So if I'm in motion, of course, problems are going to pop up. And the problem, it'd have to be a really, really big problem for me to not believe I can attempt something to make that problem better. I might not solve it. That's actually not even my goal. It's just like, what can I attempt to make this problem less of a problem? And if you do that enough times, what you build is confidence in yourself that you can create change. So
Mm.
there's something very empowering about knowing I'm at the center of every problem, and therefore I can manipulate the problem to make it less of a problem. Otherwise, I'm at the mercy of everything around me and anything that could possibly ever happen at all. And that feeling feels worse than the feeling of I am responsible to create change when a problem shows up. So both are hard, but it's like, which hard do you want? Being responsible for creating change, and then all you have to do is get better at being able to do that, or forever the rest of all time being at the mercy of hoping that everything around you stays smooth and not being able to create any sort of change. So that is what I would say about that.
That makes me just want to like shudder when you say that, Christina. Like being at the mercy of problems, like, oh no.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's all figure outable.
I was
And
like a combination of several of the things y'all just said. I came in and was like, why would everyone not do this? This is stupid to not do this. Like, did you see what I showed you when I showed you how cool this is and how good it is and all the money? And everyone joined me. I was a top enroller. Everyone who joined me wanted to do the business. And then I had to go through the other part of it, and I lost a lot of that confidence trying to figure out why I could do this, but why I couldn't show other people how to do this. So in the process of figuring out that I was the problem when I didn't even have a problem yet, I created a problem of confidence trying to figure it out, and then have spent the last, I don't know, Christina, what year, working on fixing myself, fixing my belief. I am still the same person that can enroll. I am still the same person that can get all these builders. And now I know how to help them duplicate. Now I know how to help them solve that problem when it occurs. And it was like came in hot, then went through all of that, and then had to go back up after. It's kind of a combination of all three of the things y'all just.
Can I add to that? Because I think it's just a fun thing to say, because what you just said. Sometimes you realize that the person is the problem, like they are the problem. Like if there's been times where I have thought, I can't build business builders. I can't do it because I have a few women that are whining and complaining to me about nobody's interested, nobody's interested. And I think, oh my gosh, I'm not equipped. Maybe what my training's not good, when their thoughts were preventing their success. But then I internalized it as a problem that really wasn't one for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yep, valid point. And sometimes it's really hard to discern between the two, Amber,
Yes.
especially if you care about the person.
Yes.
And if you're really self-aware and you care about your own growth, you can easily make it your problem when you actually, that actually leads me to like my second question. Can I do that one, Brittany?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you, okay, when your team hits a wall, do you tend to jump in and fix it? Or do you tend to ask questions to guide them to figure out how to fix it? Recently, I was in a conversation with somebody and they had like 4 objections to why they were definitely nothing was working for them. And I just like everything inside of me wanted to be like, well, that you could do that instead of doing that. You need to fix that instead of like I just like it was like beginner level, and I could just like see all the things, right? When you've done this a long time, you can like easily pick out the things that they should change that would make it different. But I was like, I need to like let her express everything that is happening and then ask questions to see if she can see what I'm seeing. And that is really hard for me because I need to like slow down, and I'm a quick person. Yeah, do you ever see that? Anyone else have experience with that? And the question is, how do you balance between wanting your team to, but just between the two, how do you do when do you help them and when do you help them help themselves? I kind of take turns actually, because sometimes they're newish and maybe they've never had that problem before and you can pinpoint it easily for them. But other times I'm like, I helped you last time. This time we're going to walk you through you helping yourself.
For me, I would say I most of the time will help them figure out how to solve the problem themselves, because my goal is to kind of like work myself out of a job, right? Like I don't want my people to feel like they are dependent on me to solve their problems. I want them to feel like they can solve their own. Like I don't want them to feel like they need me. And so I will, if I know that if I solve the problem for them, which I could and it would be quicker, I'm going to have to keep doing that over and over and over and over. And I don't want to do that. And so I will take more time on the front end to help them figure out how they would solve it instead of solving the problem for them.
It's incredibly frustrating to be on the receiving end of this process, just so you're aware. Incredibly. I'm very thankful for it now, but I can remember many times, many times, I'd ask a question. She would say, "That's a good question. Can I call you real quick?" And I'd be like, "This ain't about to be real quick." And she ain't about to give me the answer. Just about to be real opposite of quick. And I'm still going to have to figure out the answer on my own. But it has really developed me. And that just now, I think I'm just now realizing that is the part of developing a human being. And I do it very naturally with my kids. Matter of fact, one of my kids asked me earlier today, they're like, "Did you know I'm the only one in my class that packs my own lunch?" And I'm like, "Well, this is what your mama values. This about you and this about you and this about you. You gonna pack your own lunch, dude." And Tegan's like, "And I'm the only one that makes my own breakfast." And I'm like, "Great. It means I am developing this and this and this and you." So I see now looking back what she was doing. But I'm telling you, if your people feel a little it's hard work. And so I used to think my mentoring calls or my coaching or whatever, they needed to leave feeling so excited and like top of the world, until I remembered like there were many calls I would leave talking to Brittany thinking my brain hurts and I now have to think even harder like that. It's hard work. And so anyway, yes.
Well, as another person that has gone through Brittany boot camp, it leaves me to two things. Number one, it frees me up as a leader of the responsibility to have to figure out the other person's problems. Because if I can like my job isn't to fix, my job is to ask questions so that they can learn themselves. So that releases me from a lot of feeling responsible for them and for them figuring it out. So there's that side of things. So I'm looking at this as two perspectives. And then the flip side, being on the receiving end of it, it's also incredibly empowering because something in me wants to rise to the challenge. Even when I know like full ownership, I've messed up or I've done something wrong, it causes me to want to stand up and rise up and be better. So it's a beautiful thing on both ends in my perspective. It's freeing and exciting, and yet it challenges me to want to be better and dig in and grow because I can see what's on the other side of it. So it's just a win-win all the way around.
Where do we sign up for boot camp?
Dead.
Enter at your own risk.
Thank you for sharing, Michelle. It's so good. I have not always been good at this. I've been very quick to answer questions and not so much like for newbies and stuff, because I want them to figure out their own, but like for helping leaders, very quick to be like, this is what I would do, this is what I would do. But I feel like I'm doing better because in the last couple years, I've definitely had tons of messages like, I want to ask you this question, but I'm pretty sure you're just going to ask me questions back. And then that's not even, I have to figure it out myself. So, I mean, Jesus answered questions with more questions. Sure did. What's one of your questions, Brittany, or did anyone else have anything to add to that?
Well, I was just gonna add that, like, this is super eye-opening. So, Brittany, when you said, and I wish I had like crossed over the bridge, something to give, but still on the other side of the bridge, apparently. Because Brittany, when you said, I don't want them to feel like they need me, I went, I think I do want them to feel like they need me. Like, that's not helpful for me or for them. But it was just this really, I'm like, oh, well, there's something that needs to be unpacked and fixed, because that's just not going to, it's not going to help any of us build anything. So that was eye-opening.
I feel like that goes back to Eva's question about what was the question, Eva, about the root of something versus the actual problem?
The first one they asked?
I think so.
Oh yeah, like recognizing a surface level issue versus the actual root issue.
Mhm.
Yeah,
what
so
are
I
you-
think that, like, the surface level, in my brain was like, they're not doing this, they're not taking it, they're not this, they're not doing these things. And the actual issue is that I've not empowered that. I've made, myself the go-to and the one with the answers. And I'm like, no, it's not fantastic. And that's not what's been modeled for me. So that's interesting. That'll be a focus going forward.
One of my favorite questions to ask when it gets down to the like nitty gritty, because I really, really struggled with this because I wanted to have all the answers, not because I wanted to solve the problem. Like I wanted them to have results so bad. So I would find myself offering different solutions to the problem when that wasn't their core problem, when the core problem was their mindset around the thing. So one of my favorite questions I come back to time and time again is, it sounds like you have some choices to make. And then you just let it be silent, because I always want them to reflect and know I am making decisions and choices here versus I tried what Amber said and the systems Amber gave me and it didn't work. If I'm the one always giving them the solution versus I am making a decision whether to stay in this and figure it out because it's valuable for my family or not. So that question has been very empowering.
I love that. I think, Jennifer, in the beginning, or probably before I even started my business, I think because I have so many kids, maybe I wanted my kids to need me until I had like probably the third one. And then I was like, this is too many people needing me. And then the kids kept coming. And so I realized that I was not going to be able to be like that doesn't scale. It literally doesn't. And I was going to lose my mind if everybody needed me for everything. And so I realized pretty early in mothering that I needed to raise children who did not need me. And that really was the goal, to raise adults. I was never trying to raise kids, I was trying to raise adults. And I think that probably translated into my business as well, because we do want to help as many people as possible, right? And the ultimate goal is to develop leaders who are independent and can run their own business. Because if you have enough of those, then you have freedom. You have true freedom. So that's definitely the goal. And then help them figure out how to have that same true freedom as well.
Yeah, that parallel definitely, like that just solidifies it, because same thing. I always said my job is not to be your friend or to give you all the answers, but to, help you be a capable adult who can do it on their own. So just remembering that as it applies to my business and the people I'm working with who say they want things. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for sharing, Jennifer. And Amber. Eva, do you want me to ask one of my questions?
Yeah, let's.
Okay. So on page 100, I loved the entire page, but he says there's no such thing as a problem-free business. Like you'll literally never have one. As soon as you solve that problem that you feel like you have, then you might not have that same problem, but you'll have a new one to solve. Okay. You'll never have a problem-free business. He also says that when you have a problem, not if, but when, that there are behaviors that make the problem worse. And he lists them: feeling sorry for yourself, blaming someone or something else for the problem, or wishing for the problem to go away instead of working for the problem to go away. Those are the behaviors that make problems worse in your business. But then he lists out what makes problems better, and that is taking responsibility for addressing the problem, taking responsibility for your attitude and your emotions, and then giving your best effort to finding a solution. So I thought that was so powerful. So my question is, what is a problem that you are facing right now? And how can you apply these principles for making it better instead of worse? And the principles are: take responsibility for addressing the problem, take responsibility for your attitude and emotions about the problem, give your best effort to find the solution to the problem. So, what's a problem you're facing right now? How can you apply these principles for making it better instead of worse?
Seeing how it's crickets. So problem that I'm having right now is not reaching out to people that I could reach out to, and that I like comparison get in my head. And so taking responsibility for that for me looks like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And then also reaching, like I'll reach out to Moran and say, okay, this is what I'm doing. Because if I will tattle on myself, it's like, okay, I can't keep doing that. I need to move on. I told someone this. And so just being willing to tell someone else that, okay, this is where my thinking stinks. This is what's been going on, but okay, getting back in gear is, it does not allow me to sit in that same thing for very long.
Yes.
I was realizing myself after doing the last chapter of the positive change one. I was like, I'm pretty sure God had me studying that chapter extra hard last week or the week before, because I needed that one. The thing that I noticed about myself is that once I identified a problem, I would make the changes to address that problem. But then, you know how he said movement creates friction? As soon as there was the friction and you should see the new problem and make the shifts, like not just the cosmetic shifts, but like the critical shifts, I would fall back into the old pattern. And so that was a huge pattern that I noticed in myself when it came to addressing problems, was I would address them, which made me think I was addressing them, but I wasn't having the follow through of shifting again and shifting again and shifting again. I would just kind of fall back to the old way and make a cosmetic change again instead of a critical change. So
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. All right, I'm going to ask another question that's very similar to the one that I just asked, but maybe it will clarify. So he talked about his assistant, Barbara, in this chapter, and how She had a problem. She couldn't figure out. She came to him, basically said, I can't solve the problem. And so he literally showed her there's a way to solve this problem. And she learned some things that day. She decided she was going to become a problem solver instead of a problem spotter. And so I want you to think about the biggest problem in your business right now. And with that problem in mind, if you truly believed that, one, there's always an answer, two, the answer is not always easy to find, and three, you are determined to never take your problems to someone else to solve, what would you do to solve the problem?
I'll share.
Okay.
First thing I do is pray because it's hard when you are constantly faced with problems. And I can so relate to that part. First of all, I thought we were on the chapter of attitude because I counted the wrong things and I had already read this first part of this chapter. But then I had to go back and read it. But that spoke to me because I realized that a large part of my problem is a fear of thinking I'm not going to solve the problem. That was a large problem that I had, was like, this is a problem. I have a constant interruption in my life with our children moving in and out. We have foster children, and it's been difficult to figure out how to make it work. And so I had a constant fear of, how can I solve this problem? I know it's solvable, but how am I going to do it? And it took a long time, but I finally figured it out. And I think just realizing you have to sometimes work through that, and there are going to be seasons, but I learned a whole lot about myself. And I think that not giving up as you're working through the problems. What was number 2? You said?
The answer's not always easy to find.
Right. It's not always easy, and it may take longer with some people than others, but just realizing you can't give up while you're solving the problem. That was the thing for me anyway, was overcoming the fear of never solving the problem and then not giving up.
Okay. So since you're here, I have a follow-up question for you.
Okay.
Or anybody who wants to answer, but I'd like to hear your answer first, Jenna. If you saw your problem as a stepping stone versus a stumbling block, what might that problem be a stepping stone toward?
Well, it would definitely make me more confident in realizing that I could solve the problem, and confident in always moving forward instead of feeling stuck.
What about how would that apply to your leadership in the future?
That's a great question. I don't know.
I mean, if you solve this problem for yourself, how would that equip you as a leader?
Well, I would love to be able to tell people, like, if you're going to feel like you can't do it, and you're going to have that fear, you're going to have so many fears, but if you'll just hang on and keep trying to figure it out, just keep trying to figure it out, that, you will eventually figure it out if you're trying.
Yes. So you'll be able to encourage your team who's struggling with the same thing. Do you think maybe you'd have some wisdom to offer them about how, like tips and tricks they could do to solve the same problem you had, maybe?
Yes, I think that, and I've said this before about this community, that there are so many people here that are strong in this area, because everybody has problems here. and everybody who is a leader has overcome significant problems. So I think surrounding yourself with people that you can constantly see have overcome issues helps you see that it's possible. And you just share that with people and you say, hey, stay close to the fire. These people have had real significant problems, more problems than I've ever had, many people. So you can clearly see that you can be successful and have a lot of problems. It may take you longer. It's going to take me longer. It's taken me so long, it feels like, to get to where I want. But I've learned so much on the way that's been so valuable in many areas of my life that I would not do it different.
So good. All right. Anybody else?
I
If
think,
you're thinking about, were you about to say something,
yeah, I was just gonna say, to Jana's point, the fear of, will I be able to figure it out? I think that there's already a problem. And so if I am trying to create positive change around the problem, the worst I end up with is just a still an existing problem. So it actually is not, I mean, it's not any worse. So best case scenario, we find a solution. Worst case scenario, we still have another problem to solve. And I think that's why I've always gone back to, for me, done is better than perfect, because I don't ever expect I'm going to nail it the first time. Probably won't actually ever nail it, but most of the time, best effort is going to be sufficient. And every time it'll be closer to perfection, every time, every time, every time. And so unless it's going to kill me, like literally physically kill me, then I already have the problem. So might as well try something. The problem's not going to take care of itself, so might as well try something. Worst I end up with is just another problem, but I already had one. So I don't know if that's helpful, Jana, but that's how I sometimes think about it.
That's really helpful, Christina. That's something I was going to bring up too. Like, to not compare yourself to other leaders who have it more figured out than you and have learned how to coach and ask great questions, and they've just practiced it more than you. To not compare or let your problems or the issues or whatever you're trying to solve define you, but to have the mindset of what Christina just said, that you are closer every time. You get better, and done is better than perfect. You're never going to be perfect at it. But yeah, that mindset was something I wanted to bring up too. Because we can all be like, oh, I wish I was Brittany, and ask all the great questions she has, but she built that skill, and we can build that skill too.
Yeah. Agree.
Sorry, I went off track there, Brittany, with your question.
No, that's fine. I think it's all very good. And thank you, Jana, for being vulnerable and sharing. Anybody else want to share about if you saw the biggest problem in your business right now, if you solved it and you saw it as a stepping stone, what might this problem be a stepping stone toward?
Everything I want and am dreaming of.
Elaborate.
Let's see. Leaders on my team that want this as badly as I do. And when I have them, I can develop them and grow and see leaders being developed under leaders. And I mean, the biggest problem is that I want to find them and develop them. And so if I solve that, it's the means to the end. That is the formula for me to get where I want, which is thrilling.
Yep. So is the problem worth solving?
Yes. A million times, yes. I mean, I don't know if you could, read through my all caps in the chat. How does it make you feel? Confidence, excitement, credibility, momentum, growth, everything. Yes, yes, yes.
Love it. So good, Michelle. Love your excitement and enthusiasm always.
Well, it's kind of like, sometimes it's just like a switch in your brain. Like for me, sometimes like a switch, like it just, I don't know, sometimes it takes a while, but then it will finally click. And when you can have that mindset change of, oh my gosh, this is not way out there. It's not unsurmountable. It's not unattainable. This is simply a problem, an opportunity to grow, and a challenge for me to get stronger and better and figure something out. And then it changes everything. And then it makes me excited. Now remind me of this tomorrow, or I'll have to remind myself of this tomorrow. This is because I take ownership for my problems. But it gives it a different context to make it doable and worth it and able to move forward with confidence.
Mhm. Yep.
Because even though I may not have overcome this one, there's plenty of problems that I've solved in the past.
Yes, and you have a long line of evidence behind you to show that you are a problem solver. You've solved many problems in your business, and you can solve the one you're currently facing too, for sure. All right. Well, we're out of time, so just want to close by saying I think this chapter is very powerful. I truly do. I hope that you all will read it in detail. And here's my closing thoughts about this. I think that everybody likes the idea of being a leader. There's not a single person on this call who wouldn't want to be seen as a leader or experience the benefits of being a leader. But I believe that there are few who are willing to accept the weight and responsibility of being a leader. And this is it, because as a leader, you're not just responsible for your own problems. Like he says in the chapter, you're responsible for other people's problems too, right? Think about how that applies to parenting. Like a lot of people don't want to have kids because they don't want the responsibility of the kids. Or they don't want to have more kids because they don't want more responsibility, right? But think about having lots of kids and just having lots of fruit at the end of your life. There's huge reward in that. And it's no different here. Leadership comes with weight, it comes with responsibility. You will be solving more people's problems than your own. And that can feel heavy at times. I'm just going to be honest, but that's why we make so much money. And there's lots of reward in that. The fruit is worth it. The reward is worth it. And so I just want you guys to I guess read the chapter sober-mindedly, and what is the word I'm looking for? Carefully, and just take it seriously and really consider. Because I do believe there's people on this call God has truly called to lead. Like he's called you to lead. You know you're supposed to impact people. You know you want to influence people. And you know that what you are offering is valuable. And I think you need to develop that and then be willing to pick up the weight. Be willing to carry the responsibility because the fruit of it is worth it. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Such a good close, Brittany. I think you said it perfectly. Thank you for leading.
All right. Well, thank you for leading. Great questions tonight.
Excited for next week.
Me too. All right. Good night, y'all. Bye.